My manager watches every little thing I do, and it's really getting to me. How do you navigate that kind of relationship? Hopefully it's not the same manager as the one we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
So that's probably worse, probably stalking. But let's assume this
The
is a
case just
different
got stronger.
question. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess any sort of micromanaging or having sets of eyes on you is stressful and can lead to, feeling a little bit anxious and uncertain in the workplace. So it's definitely not conducive to an employee that you want to have sort of a nice, stable workflow and output. It sounds super stressful. And I guess it can also lead you to have feelings like you're being mistrusted, or like you don't have the capacity to do your job, or that people don't think you have the capability to. So then you question yourself. And then, it can be a vicious circle, and then you lose sleep, and, you come in late and all those sorts of things. So I guess a couple of things. So try to name specific behaviors that you're noticing. Like, is it constant checking? Is it unnecessarily updates? Is it correcting small details? Is it unclear expectations? That is leading to this sort of accrual of a manager checking in more than you'd like. If it feels safe, you can have a calm and practical conversation with them as well. I think coming from a similar direction as the one we said before, as far as like you want to be there and you want to do your work, but you want to do it as efficiently and effectively for the team. So, saying things like, I want to make sure I'm meeting your expectations, but I'm finding the level of checking hard to work with. Can we agree on updates you need and when? Or I can see that you're coming to check in on me maybe more than usual. Is there a way that we can sort of discuss your expectations so, I don't have to eat into your day and you having to come in and check on me? Is that sending a Slack update, an email, a handover end of day? What is that thing, so you don't feel like you have to be chasing me? Sort of really, I guess, having that problem solving for both. And create clarity where you can, and agreed clarity. So things like priorities, deadlines, check-in points, and I guess asking what their idea of good enough looks like. Because I think we all have a different idea of what is good enough, particularly, the previous question in regards to those sort of more chaotic team members that may have, extraordinary skills but can lack in other capacities. If it continues, so if you feel like you've got capacity to raise it, try and come up with a solution to support both of you. But if it does continue, or you don't feel like you're in a space where you can have those conversations, keep track of the patterns, seek support from, if you have HR, or an appropriate contact within the workplace. Could be a trusted leader, a union, your EAP, or someone external as well, a mentor. You could also check in like the support line, creative workplaces, but you definitely don't have to manage that power dynamic on your own as well. So I guess it would be also making sure that you feel okay in the workplace as well, and it's not sort of crossing any boundaries that would seem inappropriate. And if you can, try and leave that situation at the door. Have a nice transition when you come home, so you're not sort of trying to ruminate on problem solving, or having those thoughts of what you got the next day when you go into the office as well. So to really try and create a bit of distance there can be helpful too. So yeah.
Excellent advice. That was really good. I think, Nick, I'd love your view, just to round it out with these. I think one of the themes that's come up today quite a bit is like using your agency and going, like, you don't just have to sit and take it. Can you think of an example, obviously it doesn't have to even be real, but of where you would have been able to have a good conversation with someone because of how they came to you and what that looks like? Because a leader or a manager probably doesn't, in some cases, doesn't even notice that this stuff's even happening, or even how much it's affecting someone. So how does that conversation go? What do you like to kind of see that someone's sort of prepared for, and then has structured how they're going to have that conversation with you?
My preference is for people to grab me like as quickly as possible.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like when there's things that are kind of just festering and it's just pissing them off, and I can see it. You know, like I'm like, is there something? You know, is something wrong? Like, you know, I feel like, you know, we're having communication difficulties here. Am I doing something that? But I like it, and I do it the same. Of like, if I see something in a meeting, I'll just pull that person aside and just say, hey, just noticed this thing happened in that meeting. Just want to talk about it, you know, and just try and nip it in the bud as quickly as possible, rather than just kind of thinking about it for long periods of time, and then it becomes this thing that is just sort of mental load for you, and it doesn't really sort of move, you know, your work and your ability to work forward. So yeah, I'm really proactive with my team to sort of encourage conversations, and yeah, if there are things that are bugging them, to sort of bring them to me as quickly as possible. But again, going back to kind of like that framework of, hey, this made me feel X when you said, you know, give me a specific example, and then we can just chat through it. I think a lot of the time, some of these things can get made into much larger issues when they're not dealt with quickly.
Yeah.
That'd be my only advice.